And I actually use oatmeal from Finland. I have like imported these to Sweden. And I'm really sad because I'm like out of these now. So, but yeah, I just make a big bowl of oatmeal, and usually I change this up. Sometimes I have in blueberries. Sometimes I like, you know, basically I just change it up. But today I'm just feeling a very like plain normal oatmeal. I usually put in some chia seeds because, you know, it's a good way to just get them in. And then I just put some cinnamon and maple syrup. But yeah. Now I like to just add a little bit of chia seeds just because why not? Why not? Why not? And then to get some sweetness into it, I just add a little bit of maple syrup. Drizzle. Oop. Quite a lot. Add a little bit of cinnamon to give it some taste. And I also add a little bit of almond milk. I also have a glass of orange juice each morning, and then throughout the day I just try to drink as much water as possible. So this is my new little bottle. I really like him. So water is my go-to drink of choice with every meal, but with breakfast I do have orange juice. Now it's time to make lunch. And I feel like soups are great because they store amazingly and then they heat up great as well. So you can have these many days, and I like doing lunches like that I can just keep eating for a lot of days and I don't have to make lunch every single day. So soup it is, and it's a spinach and pea soup, so it's gonna be green and healthy and yummy. Hopefully I haven't made this, so I hope it's gonna be great, but let's check out the ingredients. So what you're gonna need is, of course, spinach. I bought these kinds of already chopped frozen spinach, way cheaper than if you're buying actual spinach because you need 600 grams, so that's quite a lot. 600 grams of spinach and also 250 grams of peas. So we have that one right here. Then I have some oat cream, oat cream. So these are great in cooking, but I feel like you could also have like coconut milk or whatever kind of vegan cream thingies you like. Then I have some vegetable stock. Make sure yours is vegan, mine is. And then 2 onions, and then you're gonna want 2 garlics, but I don't have that, so I'm just gonna use this, just, you know, crushed up garlicky flavor thingy. What is that called? Spice. And then you're just gonna need some water, and then you also need some oil. This is just plain olive oil. You could use whatever oil you feel. Really don't do that. You could use whatever oil you feel comfortable using. I'm going to just put in some olive oil, and now we're going to chop up the onions, and if I would have garlic, I would crush my garlic in the oil as well. I have some oil in here that is heating up, and then I'm just going to add the onions and the garlic. And once that is softened up a bit, you're going to want to add 1 liter of water. So I have 1 liter of water here into the mixture. Finally, that one is quiet. And then you're going to want to add 4 deciliters of oat creamer as well as your vegetable stock. And now you're just gonna want to add the spinach and the peas into the mixture and just let it boil up. I'm actually afraid this pot is gonna be too small. Ooh, I'm nervous. That's all I'm gonna say. So let's start with the peas and just see how that goes. Well, it fits, but not really. Now you're just gonna want to blend this smooth. I'm using one of these handy dandy little blenders, so let's see. Hopefully this doesn't fly everywhere. Yeah, so this happened. Please, for heavens, take a bigger pot than I did. And now you're just gonna want to salt and pepper to taste. So after that, this is pretty much done. Now, what you first want to do is coat your beets. Well, first of all, wash them. So I washed my beets, and now I'm going to coat them in some olive oil. So this is just before they go in the oven and get roasted. But you can buy pre-roasted beets if you want to, but I just decided to roast my own because, you know, couldn't find any pre-roasted. So what you want to do is just put your oven on 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit and just roast them for about 40 to 60 minutes until they get soft and you can like poke a knife through them. And then the skin is just gonna fall off. And you need 1/4 of a cup, which I think this is gonna be plenty more than that, but I'm just gonna roast 2 of them. So while the beets are still in the oven getting roasted, we might as well get started on the sesame flatbread. What you're gonna need for this is 1 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour. You're also gonna need 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of black and white sesame seeds. I have white sesame seeds right here, but then I had this giant bag of flax seeds. So these are like, well, they're not black, but they're definitely darker. And I was just like, might as well try to use this up and, you know, just get some white sesame seeds. So I'm gonna try this. I will let you know how I think it went. 2 tablespoons of each, the black and the white. And then we're gonna use a little bit of salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon. Oh, tablespoon, that would have been bad. Salt. And then 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1/2 cup of water. And that's everything that you're gonna need for this. And so what you want to do is mix the dry ingredients in a bowl and then add the wet ingredients into the mixture and just knead by hand until it's a smooth dough. Now you're gonna take your dough and place it on some parchment paper so it's easier. And then you're just gonna roll them out thin and evenly all over because, you know, it needs to be even so it can bake evenly. And then what you wanna do is just grab your pizza slicer and however thin you want them, you can just cut with your little pizza slicer. And this is easier if you do it beforehand. I'm doing it with my left hand, which is not easy. And now you can bake these in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes until they get like goldeny brown and they look ready. So for the beet hummus, you're gonna need 2 cans of cannellini beans. I have mine drained and washed right here, but I only bought 1 can. I just thought it was 1 can for this recipe, so I might have to halve everything else, but for this recipe it calls for 2 cans of cannellini or white beans and then 1/4 cup of chopped up roasted beets. So I roasted these myself and you only need 1/4 of a cup. So I feel like I have a lot of beets. Then you're gonna need 1 tablespoon of honey or agave, and I don't have neither, so we're going with maple syrup. I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but that's what we're rolling with. You're also gonna need 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. You're gonna need some salt and pepper for flavor. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons fresh lemon juice and 1 large garlic clove. So what you basically do is put everything in a food processor and blend that up. But since my food processor is not good, I'm just gonna put it in a bowl and use one of these and basically just mush it all up. And also while you're mushing it, you're gonna need water to like thin it out and make it work. So some ice water is good to have on hand. I'm gonna have that as soon as I put everything together in here. So this is the finished result, and these crackers, I love them. I'm gonna make these about 100 times more. I love them. This is just a little bit garlicky, but it's still good. So for dinner, we're making pizzas, and these are really simple, really quick pizzas. They're just gonna be vegan, and you can of course put whatever you want on top. But first of all, we're gonna make the tomato sauce. That is gonna be, of course, the base on the pizza. And for that, I just have some chopped up tomatoes. I'm gonna use half of this. This is a 400 gram, no, this is 500 grams. So about 250, 200, like it doesn't matter. We're just winging it. I'm making this recipe up in my head. So, and then I have some balsamic vinegar. That is gonna give it quite a little tangy taste. I don't know. We're putting that in, and then salt and pepper to taste, of course. And then I just have some spices. This is garlic spice, onion, basil, and we also have a vegetable stock cube. And now that we have that heating up, I'm just gonna put in the vegetable stock cube so that can dissolve. And I'm also gonna put in a tiny splash, of balsamic. And just seasoning it however you want. I'm putting in a lot of basil. I feel like that's quite like pizza-esque, right? And then a little bit of onion powder. This is of course you can have real onions in this. I'm just lazy. This is just so it's gonna go really fast. And then some garlic. So I'm just gonna leave this on, and we're gonna start with the pizza dough. So I'm gonna make the most simple recipe I know of, because there's no yeast. You don't have to wait. You just mix together ingredients, roll it out, and that's your pizza dough. So that means 4 deciliters of flour, and then 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and as well as 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil, and then just 1.5 deciliters cold water. I'm gonna of course have these written down below, but that is all that we're gonna put in the pizza dough. Now we roll him out to however thin you want him. I'm not a good pizza roller, am I? It's very exhausting. Vegan meatballs, so these are made from soy and stuff like that. And then we're also gonna put on some mushrooms, and you can of course put on any topping you would like. And then for my first vegan cheese experience, this is the tofutti, creamy smooth mozzarella style.